College tuition has gotten a little crazy these days, am I right? My man Kevin would like to get a college education for free because he thinks that's a dope idea, but my boy Phil over here thinks that's the wackest thing he's ever heard, and he thinks Kev is real dumb. Let's discuss. I've heard a lot about how crazy tuition can be in the news recently.
The students say the cost of a college education is already too high.
Turns out, one of the proposed solutions is just to make college free for everyone.
2 years of college will become as free and universal as high school is today.
No tuition necessary. That sounds great, right? Turns out it's not that simple, which probably should have been obvious in hindsight, but it's the humans we're talking about. So I looked into it. As you can imagine, there are some excellent points made for both sides. Some people are pro free college and some people think it's a terrible idea. I am now going to relay to you the nuanced discussion that I found online while I was researching. There was absolutely not a bunch of people just yelling at each other on the internet. Don't you dare tell me there's no nuance to this discussion. And let's begin. Pro point number 1. Tuition-free college would help decrease student debt. The first thing that people on this side of the aisle will say is, imagine graduating college not with a diploma and a lifelong financial side quest that is actually a ball and chain, but just a diploma. What a concept. Right at the moment you are watching this video, there is over $1 trillion in student debt spread out over 46 million Americans in the US. That's trillion with a T. Many people spend 20 years paying off loans they signed up for before fully understanding interest rates, or what interest rates even are in the first place. It's an excellent way to start a career, don't you think? Buried under a debt mountain, which, by the way, is owned mostly by the government. Tuition-free college would give you a get out of jail. Tuition-free college would give you a jet out of jail Greek. Tuition-free college would give you a get-out-of-jail-free card so you could skip all that nasty, soul-crushing debt for the rest of your life business. Wait, so if the students aren't paying for the school to do business, who is? Not now, Phil. You'll get your turn later. Anyway, there would be no student loans, no decade-long payments, just fresh grads ready to chase jobs and dodge bills while they continue to chase those jobs forever and never actually attain a career in today's economy. I'm not bitter. It is insane and counterproductive to the best interests of our country and our future that hundreds of thousands of bright young people cannot afford to go to college and that millions of others leave school with a mountain of debt that burdens them for decades. Pro point number 2. Our society and economy have benefited from tuition-free college in the past. The next thing people on this side will bring up is that back in 1947, college campuses looked a lot like military reunions. Nearly half the students were veterans thanks to the GI Bill FDR signed in 1944. Just don't set off any fireworks so the whole campus will duck and cover. 2 million vets were sent to college for free, and another 5.5 million into job training. If you want to turbocharge the middle class, this is the way to do it. So many people were given the chance at the good life that they would not otherwise have had, and it paid off big time. Kind of like your mom's cheek implants. The smart people did the math and found out that for every $1 that was spent, there was almost $7 that was gotten back as a return on investment. I'm not usually a pro math kind of guy, but in this case, yeah, sounds great. The buds who got that free tuition didn't just hit the books, they hit the economy too. Cars bought, homes snatched up, and jobs had without mountains of debt chasing them like that cow you stole something from. And they didn't stop there. They showed up for their communities like good little type A's. Volunteering more, voting more, giving more to charities. This free college stuff was basically like the ultimate good citizen starter pack. The GI Bill didn't just send people to school though. It basically built an overpowered dream team for the entire country. We're talking tens of thousands of doctors, engineers, teachers, scientists, plus a few overachievers who went on to become presidents like Nixon or Ford. Bob, are you really trying to say that those people became presidents because of free college? Oh, hush, Phil. Supreme Court justices and Nobel Prize winners are also on the list of free tuition beneficiaries. Oh, and just casually some American icons like Johnny Cash, Paul Newman, Clint Eastwood, you know, no big deal. Pro point number 3. Everyone deserves the opportunity to get a college education. The last thing that people on this side will say, They will quote Jamie Merisotis from the Lumina Foundation, chiming in on the conversation by saying, "A dramatic increase in the number of Americans with college credentials is absolutely essential for our economic, social, and cultural development as a country." In other words, more grads means more Mary. The way cost of tuition has risen to crazy high heights. Holy crap, that scared me. I thought I was falling. Let me turn this way. As I was saying, the crazy high cost of tuition has limited access to higher education, which is kind of essential if you want an educated workforce. At least 3/4 of the fastest growing occupations now call for education beyond high school. And on average, college graduates earn a whole heck of a lot more than high schoolers. I couldn't help but notice that you said on average, as in lots of college grads probably earn around the same as high school graduates as well, right? Go wait, Phil, I'm explaining things here. They also go through that phase known as struggling to do everything all the time because you have no job a whole lot less. Like, you know, they stay employed more. Like, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not the problem here. Even with all this knowledge, we still make it so students from low and moderate income families are unable to afford tuition for basically all of US colleges. If you look back at the history books, high school used to be something that was just kind of a nice to have thing. As I'm sure you are aware, that is no longer the case. College is going through a similar phase and is now like, hey, I'm actually kind of essential now. So if college is the new must-have for policy and democracy, maybe it should come with a price tag of $0, also known as the "We Want a Country of Educated Individuals" plan. And that was the last thing that I found in favor of free tuition. You know, riveting stuff. I said riveting stuff, dang it! Okay, on to the interlude. As many of you know, videos need a middle section. You write the script and you change things up a little bit in the middle so that people like you don't get bored. This is that section. The history section. Cut to the next clip. You were supposed to cut to the next clip. Cut it. The debate over free college in the US sits on top of a lot of things. The long historical shift in how higher education has been paid for instance, and also, who is this higher education actually meant to serve? Early American colleges like Harvard were originally small, elite, and often religiously oriented institutions. They were funded by colonial governments or private benefactors and served a very narrow slice of the population. I don't think you understand. When I say narrow, I mean narrow. Over time, the system expanded through public investment, which helped bring more practical and publicly supported higher education into the national landscape. In that time, back then, and also some of the time in the early 20th century, most public institutions only asked for a very small amount of tuition, or even no tuition at all. This is because at one time, professors and admin believed that education should be a public good rather than an expense that only young people can afford because they are too dumb to know they shouldn't be shackling themselves with insane amounts of debt for the rest of their lives. Fast forward to today, and enrollment goes way up and the public funding goes way down. So over the years, the tuition itself became a larger part of how colleges were funding themselves, which obviously had a large impact on the access of those colleges or how affordable they were. Wonderful! You've been caught up to the present day, bringing us to today's debate. As you can see, the things people are discussing nowadays has less to do about whether or not you can pass on higher education and more on everyone should be chipping in to pay for it or not. Oh, shoot. And now that you've had your attention span broken up, that brings us back to today's debate. Let's move on to all the things that I found that are against free tuition. Against point number 1. Tuition-free college is not free, and students would still have large debts. The first thing that people on this side of the aisle will say is that tuition may be the headline act, but it's definitely not the whole show. There are still a junk ton of cost of living expenses that need to be accounted for. A junk ton. In 2024, public tuition averaged $11,500, but then came the bonus round. $13,000 for room and board, $1,200 for books, $1,300 for transportation, and a cool $2,000 for everything else life throws at you. Even if tuition magically disappeared, you'd still be looking at an average of $18,000 a year. Turns out, college is a scam, just like everything else. Wait, what? Tuition at a community college is basically just the opening act. It makes up about 1/5 of the average student's yearly budget, which is around $20,000? What? That can't be right. Hold on a second, let me check my notes. Oh, yeah, I guess it is right. It says so, right here. The rest of the expenses are the real. Rent, food, books, and all the stuff that makes adulting just the worst. Also, even when college is free, the bills still find a way. Take Sweden, for example. Usually the poster child for free education, Swedish students had an average of $21,000 in debt just for living costs. Let's compare that to the US, who were, let's see, only $7,000 deeper in the hole at $2,800. I don't know if you should be referencing Sweden like that. The debt isn't really comparable because a ton of social safety nets that are much more efficient exist in Sweden. You already had your turn, Kevin. Go away. Turns out, free college doesn't come with free lunch, or free rent, or free gas for your car, or free anything, really. Against point number 2. Taxpayers would spend billions to subsidize tuition, and other costs would remain high. The next thing this side of the aisle will point out is that, as mentioned, Bernie Sanders does have a free college plan.
We should have free tuition at public colleges and universities.
Unfortunately, it comes with a very hefty price tag of $47 billion a year, with states expected to chip in roughly a third of that, which comes out to $15 billion per state. Has anyone else noticed the word billion gets thrown around kind of a lot these days? Economists have pointed out that paying for it would likely mean raising taxes or shifting the money around, because, you know, higher education doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's mostly just dust that lives in a vacuum. The money would be taken away from things like healthcare, roads, prisons, schools. Basically the budget version of you can have it, but something's gotta give. According to a Campaign for Free College report, going tuition-free would not come cheap for states. It could mean losing $77 million in Wyoming and about $5 billion in California, which is all money that comes from tuition revenue. On top of that, states might still need to kick in extra funding to keep a tuition-free system running. In other words, free college is expensive. It's just being paid for by someone else's budget. Some smart people with calculators have calculated that free college tuition would cost every adult taxpayer $1,300 a year. Why should people who want to go to college get it paid for in part by other people who want to pursue non-college forms of job training? College costs have been on a glow-up streak for a while now, and not all of it is about tuition. A big chunk comes from upgrades like fancy dorms, lazy rivers, climbing walls, and other is this a university or resort amenities. Wouldn't a simple solution to that just be to not have colleges keep building all those things if there was no money for them? Kevin, please, I'm editorializing. In addition to climbing walls and what have you, expanded student services, athletics, and a steadily growing cast of administrators behind the scenes are also very expensive. Add in reduced state funding, and the result is a price tag that keeps climbing even when classes themselves aren't necessarily the reason for price hikes. Against point number 3, students who shouldn't be there will enroll, wasting money and decreasing completion rates. The last thing people on this side will say is, they will quote Jack A. Chambliss and how he has argued that a free college system might lead to a bit of an everyone grab a seat situation. All the students who aren't quite ready for college rigor, but still want to see what college life is like, still enroll anyways, potentially spending time and taxpayer money in the process. In his view, it could create a mismatch between expectation and reality, where the idea of college initially sounds fun and exciting, but the workload turns out to be much more than expected. Kind of like being a YouTuber. As a case in point, California's community college fee waiver program meant that over half the students could attend for free. This was pre-2017. So the price of entry wasn't really the issue. But despite that, outcomes were still pretty underwhelming. Very few students actually completed a career technical program, and less than 10% finished a 2-year degree within 6 years. I'm pretty sure those people that didn't finish just had other commitments, like jobs or children or that kind of thing. Kevin, I love you, but I think I'm breaking up with you. When it comes to finishing school, free helps with access, but doesn't automatically come with a graduation guarantee. If you have a student sign up for free tuition, they still might end up borrowing for living costs and then dropping out later anyways. I think we might have covered how young people are real dumb and do real dumb things. That would leave them with a healthy dose of debt and no degree to show for it. The free part doesn't necessarily stop the risk of debt or unfinished programs. It just shifts where the financial pain shows up. Now you're probably wondering, where does Bob land on all of this? And I will tell you. I think that college is, well, college, and everyone should probably just become YouTubers anyways, because that's like the easy way out. You know, get on my level already. Okay, I've probably stalled enough. If you enjoyed this video, you could go ahead and interact with it. Hit that button down there that has a little like symbol on it, or maybe subscribe, write a comment, see other videos that are similar, that kind of business, you know. If you don't, I'll come to your house and chop off all your toes. Peace.